From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli, and good morning to everybody watching over on Click on Detroit, Local 4 Plus, and streaming on YouTube. And also good morning to those of you listening to us on the go, thanks to our Click on Detroit app. We are keeping an eye on the weather today with severe storms possible this afternoon and tonight. The 4-1 weather team is not ruling out isolated storms after lunch, but they're predicting the worst of it to happen about 5 o'clock or later. We're going to talk heavy rains and wind gusts that could hit 60 miles per hour. Ashley Barris has everything you need to know coming up in just a bit. And it's something many of us have and do not want: credit card debt. We're looking at the numbers here in Michigan and talking with a financial expert for ways to get out of that debt. And then controversy in Hamtramck continues to grow. Now, 2 city council members are facing a list of election law charges. Let's get to some headlines this morning. 4 people were shot on Detroit's east side last night at the Sheridan Place apartment complex over on East Jefferson. That's pretty close to the Belle Isle Bridge. Detroit police say a man opened fire, complaining about loud noise during a barbecue, and shot 3 people. We're also told one of the victims tackled him, and a Good Samaritan shot him in self-defense.
This is a shooting that is so ridiculous in nature that you can't even explain it. One of our victims who was shot, he was actually our suspect. He had an issue with people who were behind the building. They were barbecuing, they're having a good time, probably making a little bit of noise. He told them if they didn't stop making the noise, he was going to come down and take care of them. You don't have to resort to a gun because somebody's playing loud music. It's just irrational. And we're having this, when you're in your 70s, this should not be what's going on.
Well, police say it's going to be a lengthy investigation. Everybody involved was in their early 60s or late 70s. No word on charges just yet. The former CFO of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy begins his 19-year prison sentence today. William Smith requested to pause his sentence for 60 days for medical treatment, but a federal judge said no. Last year, Smith pled guilty to the decades-long scheme where he stole at least $44 million from the nonprofit. He's also ordered to pay $48 million in restitution. Let's take a live look over in Washington, D.C. this morning, where President Trump is trying to negotiate a trade deal with China. As of right now, tariff rates on goods made in China will stay the same, despite a deadline set for today to hike the rates. The White House says the negotiations are still going on, and both sides are hoping another 90 days will help the country make a deal. It also means companies and Americans are entering another month of an uncertain economic future.
They've been dealing quite nicely. The relationship is very good with President Xi and myself.
The U.S. and China are pushing back today's self-imposed deadline for reaching a trade deal. They say current tariff amounts can remain in place another 90 days as negotiations continue. President Trump signed an executive order last night, keeping the U.S. rate for Chinese imports at 30%. That's opposed to letting it rise to 54% as specified in a previous order. China confirms its duties on U.S. imports will stay at 10% instead of climbing to 34%.
With the tariffs going up and down, our prices go up and down.
Many U.S. businesses say tariffs on Chinese goods apply to numerous products they sell to consumers. That's because China is America's second largest source of imports.
At the end of the day, either there's only a couple things that can happen. Either the companies make less money or the prices go up for the consumers. And we all know what companies are going to choose.
Meanwhile, Trump says he's allowing the Chinese to buy certain American-made semiconductor chips. He says the U.S. government will get 15% of related revenue.
Taxing a specific company to have the right granted by the government to ship product to a specific country. That, for lack of better words, is a little funky chicken. But at the same time, it's a form of tariffs.
Well, the president argues people in other countries pay U.S. tariffs. However, experts say this only happens when they're both buying and sending the goods, like when a foreign company sells directly to customers. For the most part, U.S. businesses are paying the tariff on the imported goods. Some foreign companies could lower the prices to make up for the tariffs, but many can't actually afford to do that. We're going to take a live look at the stock futures board this morning as they are still in the green right now. It's taken a bit of a dip, though, and it's not because of the push of the tariff deadline between the U.S. and China. Instead, investors are getting ready for an important inflation report coming out this week. Today, we will get the Consumer Price Index, which shows how much prices of things people buy every day are changing. And then on Thursday, the Producer Price Index will show changes in the costs businesses pay for goods. Now, investors are watching these to get an idea of what the Fed will do with interest rates when they meet in September to decide on policies. Well, now to a conversation about your money and spending. We know times are tough with inflation and the tariffs, and new numbers show many people are living beyond their means. According to the Federal Reserve, total U.S. household debt rose to more than $18 trillion in the first quarter of 2025. Only 51% of people say they spent less than their income in 2024. About 33% of U.S. adults have more credit card debt than emergency savings. In Detroit, the average home has a credit card debt of more than $10,000. So joining me now to talk more about this and maybe get some advice how you can get out of debt, Bradley Augustine. He's a financial advisor from LPL Financial. Bradley, thanks for coming in. This is such a challenge because this conversation is one of those that is so easy to have, but so hard to do, right? So in terms of debt, obviously most of it is credit cards.
Sure.
What's the best way to tackle this? I've heard multiple ideas on pay them all at once. If you've got multiple credit cards, trickle payments, or just do lump sums on the biggest ones. What's the best way?
Yeah, the first thing I would say before we even get to that is it is something that is so common and it brings so much shame with people. So
right.
The first thing to know is it's totally fine to have a plan, to create a plan, and then follow that plan. And there's a number of different ways you can do it. So you brought up a number of really good ones. We like to target the highest interest rate first.
Okay.
Another method is if you have 3 lines of credit, one is smaller than the other ones, knock that one out so that you can focus on the other 2. But the key here is to make that plan and follow through with it and not let the guilt or whatever you might feel about having credit cards change anything that year.
Gotcha. So, okay, just to kind of highlight then, let's say I have 3 credit cards.
Yeah.
And I've got $10,000 on one, $5,000 and $2,000 on the other one. You're saying take care of the lowest ones first to kind of wipe that out?
That's one. That's called the snowball approach.
Okay.
And the idea is, get rid of that $2,000 one in this case. But if you have one that's charging you 30% interest and one that's charging you 10, you're going to be more inclined probably and better off to target the higher interest rate ones.
Right. Okay. Now, in terms of how it affects your credit, though, your credit score.
Yeah.
What's the best approach?
So what credit companies are looking for here when it comes to credit score is less than 30% usage of your total lines of credit. So if you have $30,000 of a line of credit, you have to keep it below $10,000 before it starts adversely affecting your credit score.
Gotcha. Okay. So again, if I am in a situation where I've got all this credit card debt and I'm trying to figure out where to pay it, we talked about the snowball effect, but what is best in terms of helping my credit score?
Yeah. So again, probably getting to that lower than 30% threshold is going to be the most critical.
Right.
Not missing payments is going to be really helpful as well. But either approach, either snowball or waterfall, you mentioned just kind of taking those higher ones first, will be helpful with your credit score.
Gotcha. Okay. So we talk about setting money aside and taking a percentage of your paycheck. Right now, for a lot of people, that either is very difficult or impossible to do. So what's your advice then? What do we do?
Oh, if it's impossible, So it's a great question. I noticed actually recently that younger Americans have actually been really affected by this as well. So, so it's now 10% of Americans aged 18 to 29 are more than 90 days out. And that's, of course, correspondent to their incomes, right? So lower incomes can be really difficult to be able to battle those higher rates, especially when it's over $10,000 right, in the city. So the best way to do that is to target a percentage of your income to siphon off and go straight towards debt. But that all comes back to budgeting, and budgeting is, everybody's least favorite word.
Right, yeah. Nobody likes a budget. And the challenge here is that, especially now with the economic uncertainty of everything costing more, and we're talking everything at this point, those budgets are basically blown. Right?
Yeah, they're expecting that tariffs could add about $2,000 to the average household cost each year. So you throw that on the $10,000 here, then it gets pretty big pretty fast.
So is there any realistic solution there, or are you just kind of SOL.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do if you have certain things set in place. Lines of credit are really helpful. If you own a home, there's the home equity line of credit. There's things you can do with stock portfolios that do lines of credit. But a lot of people don't have that ability to do so. So you have to go back to the beginning and start targeting those higher interest rate debts.
Yeah. Okay, we are going to take a short 90-second break, and we'll continue this conversation in 90 seconds, as I said. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Bradley Augustine, a financial advisor from LPL. We were just talking in the break about the stigma surrounding credit cards, and even 9-year-olds know. What was she saying?
Yeah, I told my daughter last night that I was going to be on today, and she said, "Oh, what is it going to be about?" I said, "Oh, well, credit cards." She goes, "Oof, credit cards. Those can be dangerous." I was so proud.
Right? Yeah. You taught the 9-year-old well.
Yeah, exactly.
You were probably teaching her in the womb, like.
Exactly. But it shows just how it's not uncommon to know that credit cards can be dangerous.
Right.
So again, putting together this plan, figuring it out, it doesn't have to feel, you don't have to feel badly about it. You just have to stick to it.
And the thing about credit cards is that if you're able to pay them off every month, they can be very useful tools.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and can improve your credit if you do it that way.
Yeah. If you do it that way, that's the challenge.
Right.
Okay, so we talked about solutions here. One of them is, consolidating debt or getting additional loans to pay those off. What are your thoughts on either of those?
Yeah, so using hard assets that you already own to pay down higher interest rate debt can be a really helpful solution.
Put that in layman's terms for us.
Yeah, so again, those home equity lines of credit, there's security-backed lines of credit, lots of those where you own something already, and then you're using that to leverage it to get a lower interest rate to be able to pay down higher interest rates. Those can be helpful. Again, it depends on individual circumstances, et cetera. The ones that can be really dangerous are these ones that I don't know if you've been getting blown up over the last year on your phone with.
Oh my gosh! Every 5 minutes, it's a text message about something.
Approved. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Those are not all dangerous, but those can be really dangerous. They say, okay, we're going to consolidate everything in, skip some payments, don't worry about it, and then just pay us, and then they'll charge you an additional 20% beyond what you're already getting charged. So those can really prey on the wrong people.
Are there any consolidation programs that are legit and can help you, or are they all kind of?
I'm sure there are, but I couldn't name them.
But you can't find them. Okay, so you talked about some options here, but for the majority of us, navigating this is almost impossible. Do I go talk to my banker or my financial advisor or a loan specialist? Like, where do I go?
Yeah, if you go to your bank or credit union, they might have a program like a signature loan or a not backed by anything type of loan where you can go in. Again, if that interest rate is lower, especially with some banks and credit unions, it might be still high, but significantly lower than your current credit card rate. That's a great place to start if you don't have hard assets.
So what you're saying, again, just to kind of boil it down a little bit, is that if, let's say, I have a credit card that's 30% interest rate.
Sure.
But your credit union, for an example, is offering you a loan that is some or maybe even a little above what your current debt is at a lower interest rate. That may be a better solution to take out more money
as well. Absolutely. Yeah.
What does that do to your credit score, though?
Well, then you have to go back to first of all, it can be really tricky to get those loans if you have high interest rates.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind for people as well. If you're able to pull it off, then take that and transfer it over here and actually use it to pay down your debt, and then go forward and don't recreate the same situation.
Right.
It should be a net positive to your credit score.
So the bottom line there is that, take money from one pot, pay off the other one, but then what you're doing
don't
put more in that pot then, right?
Exactly,
yeah. But then you could be eventually pretty soon lowering your monthly payments then.
Exactly.
And then you might be able to save a little bit.
Exactly.
Even if it's $20 or $40 a month.
Right. Right.
That my last question, and producer Mary saying we're out of time. She always tells me I always pretend to listen. In terms of trying to save, again, very difficult. But are there ways that we can use either stocks or different investments that even if I can set aside $40, will that make a difference at some point?
Yes, absolutely. It will always make a difference. That $40, even if you're putting it into just a savings account, not even investing it, there will be a time in life where something unexpected happens and you'll need to be able to get to assets that you can get to. So whether it's a stock portfolio that you can sell out of and get to, or just a good old emergency fund, it comes back to cash is king. Make sure you have emergency funds set aside, then hopefully you don't end up with the situation.
Should I keep it under my mattress?
It's the best, safest place.
And then your house burns down. Okay, Bradley, thank you very much. Appreciate your time today. Okay, when we come back, another 90-second break here. We're going to talk about the potential for severe weather here in Metro Detroit, plus a live look over South Carolina this morning, where some areas are still waiting to get lights back on following severe weather over there, including a lightning strike that looks straight out of an apocalyptic movie. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Let's take a live look in South Carolina, where some communities are still without power this Tuesday morning following some pretty severe storms. Right now, let's show you this video. A massive lightning strike is caught on camera. This is video from a police officer's dash cam in Mount Pleasant near Charleston. The lightning struck a utility pole and then caused an explosion. Thankfully, nobody got hurt, but power is knocked out in that area for several hours. We are not looking like, I should actually rephrase that. We could be looking at severe weather, maybe not that bad, but here in the Detroit area as well. Ashley is here with your forecast that severe weather could roll in maybe around the dinner time.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
It's going to be a stormy and steamy Tuesday, toasty as well, but we will have some relief as we head through the middle and later part of the week. But we have to get through the heat and humidity today, where our feels like temperatures will be back well into the 90s. But the storm chances later on today will bring relief behind it. But of course, that we have to be on alert for the chance of them becoming strong to severe. And the break that we have from the heat is kind of minimal, but the humidity taking a step backward will be what we really notice. So we do have a smoke layer draping the Midwest through the Great Lakes, and so that'll bring us some of that hazy sunshine for today. And then we get a few of those afternoon showers and storms developing. And so forecasting a high of 90, but likely feeling like low to mid 90s because of the heat index. Now we have a chance for storms after about 2, but really the more numerous storms, at least with our model data, look to be after 5 o'clock. So more of an evening event, but I'm just not ruling out midday through afternoon, seeing some of those discrete cells fire off. So I just want you to be weather aware throughout the afternoon. Feels like forecast. Well, we could be right around 94 for the heat index from Metro Airport towards City Airport down towards Monroe. It's a marginal level 1 risk for severe weather today, which means our primary threats will be damaging wind gusts and the possibility for some localized flooding. The wind risk does drape all of southeastern Michigan, which means we could see wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. Better chance for some of those storms to be in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. And as far as the rainfall forecast, not overly impressive. We're talking ½ of an inch to an inch. However, the bulk of the rain looks to be up towards Saginaw and Lansing, but I'm not ruling out localized spots that have those heavy downpours. And just because of how quickly it comes down, that leads to some of the standing water. And so an hour by hour look throughout the afternoon, where I stopped the clock at 7, that's where we do see more numerous showers and storms, the heavier rain indicated in red there. And that should start to dissipate after sunset, but we're not necessarily done. After midnight, you still could get a passing downpour, but by daybreak tomorrow, mostly dry. We're peeling back the clouds throughout the day and a drier air mass builds in. If only we could time this out a little bit earlier, because the Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight. We'll likely have some rain and cloud cover across the area, but don't worry, you still can take in this meteor shower all the way through about August 23rd. So that'll be for some nighttime viewing. In the meantime, breaking down the 7-day forecast, coolest day, 84. So still warm, but not as muggy. So Thursday is going to be beautiful with sunshine, warming things up a couple more degrees Friday. And then by the weekend, we're back towards 90 degrees. And even though we get some sunshine Sunday, there will be a chance for some afternoon showers and storms.
Well, school supplies can really add up, especially for families struggling paycheck to paycheck. But you can help more children start this school year off right during our Go For It school supply drive. This is going to be happening at the Walmart on Dix Toledo Road in Southgate Thursday, the 14th, from 6 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. You can drop off supplies including new backpacks, glue sticks, highlighters, and so much more. Scan the QR code there at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen for the full list, or you can go to our website at clickondetroit.com. We're teaming up with the Salvation Army Downriver Corps to get all of these supplies into the hands of kids who need them the most. Drop off your donations at the Walmart in Southgate Thursday, August 14th. In fact, I will be out there for most of the morning. Well, summer is always a difficult time to collect enough blood to meet the needs of patients. So Local 4 is teaming up with Gardner White Furniture and the American Red Cross. Today, you can donate blood from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4:45 at Gardner White stores in Ann Arbor, Novi, Saginaw, and Taylor. All blood types are needed right now, but especially types O positive and B negative. You can find all the details and you can make an appointment over at clickondetroit.com or at redcrossblood.org. If you can't make it today, there are more locations to donate on Thursday. We're going to come back with a Local 4 News update on the TV side just a minute here. And then at 8:30, a conversation with AG Nessel about her fight with utility companies and whether she is gunning for a top job. That's next on Local 4 Live. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. Time now for a Local 4 News update. This morning, 4 people, including a gunman, are in a hospital after a shooting on Detroit's east side. Police say a man started shooting after complaining about noise. Now, we're told one of the victims took action, tackling the gunman, and that a Good Samaritan shot him. All 4 people are stable. No word if charges will be filed. Now, if you're on the TV side, why don't you switch over to Local 4 Plus or tune in on the Click on Detroit app. Next on Local 4 Live, a conversation with Attorney General Dana Nessel about fighting utility companies and if she's looking to run for a higher office. Plus, another day, another new TikTok trend. We're talking with a dietitian about fiber maxing and if it's actually good for you. Can you max out your fiber? And finally, if you're thinking about making lunch plans, just hold on. We've got sandwiches with foodie Carlos Parisi. He's going to be here with some of his picks on Local 4 Live. Don't go anywhere.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live, a live look in Frankenmuth this morning. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but as we take a look, summer vacation is almost over for kids. In another week or so, some will be back in school already. So if you're looking for a last-minute staycation, Frankenmuth might be your spot to get away before that school bell rings. Sorry, kids. Now to a wide-ranging conversation with Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. She sat down with Jason Colthorpe this weekend on Flashpoint talking about her office taking on utility companies and an arm of the Whitmer administration. And Jason also asked her if she is setting herself up for a run for an even bigger office. Here's their conversation.
And here she is. Let's say good morning to Attorney General Dana Nessel. Thanks so much for being here. Always appreciate it. I want to start, it feels like I have a ton to talk to you about, but I want to start with the MEDC and the investigation into that corporation and Febe Dune. Your office recently launched that investigation. What specifically triggered it and what potential charges could come down the line there?
Well, as Attorney General, it is my job to make sure that state tax dollars are being used appropriately, that the money's not being embezzled or misappropriated in any way. Now, let's be clear, what we're seeing in state government pales in comparison to the massive corruption at the federal level. But again, we want to make sure that state tax dollars are used wisely, and normally they are. But in this particular set of circumstances, this investigation actually was launched as a result of, reports in the media about how this grant money was being utilized. And we have other cases where we've investigated earmarks or grants. And so we thought it was necessary to pursue this as well.
That Detroit News article you're referring to also pointed that it all came about after the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, was the one who pushed for this grant, and it was kind of in the late hours of a budget negotiation. If the investigation takes you toward the governor's office, could that also be part of this?
Well, look, as of this point, I will definitely say that the governor's not a target of this investigation, but we are deeply concerned about what we're seeing from the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. This is a quasi-public, quasi-private agency that sort of operates outside the rules of normal state government. So I'll give you, for instance, we have a case involving the misappropriation of a grant that went through the Department of Health and Human Services. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, DHHS, they were monitoring how the money was spent. They immediately notified us and the Auditor General and the Inspector General as soon as they saw that there was an issue. They, cooperated in every portion of the investigation and now the prosecution. That's in stark contrast to the MEDC. You have money that gets funded through the Michigan Strategic Fund, then it goes to the MEDC. And this has happened for decades, starting with John Engler and his administration, where you have hundreds of millions of dollars, perhaps in a single budget year.
And sometimes people aren't keeping a close eye on it.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of what their methodology is in terms of regulation, seemingly, in terms of conflicts of interest, the fact that Faye Baydoun was a board member of the MEDC and then received this massive grant, the fact that there's very little oversight, and the fact that MEDC stonewalled our investigation into the, misappropriation of this money for over a year, and now is in court trying to block us from a valid search warrant that was executed upon the agency. It's all deeply troubling. And again, the vast majority of state money is appropriately utilized when there's an earmark or when it's appropriated. But money going to the MEDC has us deeply concerned, and each day we learn new things about this agency that lead me to believe that until there's better oversight, perhaps they shouldn't be receiving any state funds at all.
I know you say the governor's not a target of the investigation, but obviously it was her appointee, and you've criticized her recently for her trips to the White House. So I think many wonder, are you two at odds on this?
No, I wouldn't say that. Listen, this is my job, and I routinely investigate individuals, whether they're Democrats, whether they're Republicans, whether they're nonpartisan. When it comes to this type of criminal behavior, or I will say alleged criminal behavior, it is part of the work of our department. We have a public integrity division of the Department of Attorney General, and we take this job very seriously. We have seasoned investigators and prosecutors, and they're nonpartisan. They're just there to do their jobs, to make sure that the law is followed, and when it's violated, that, we're bringing charges. We should point out the state did officially cancel that grant, and although it's been reported the governor hired a defense attorney for both the chief of staff and the MEDC staff. You mentioned federal corruption. Let me quickly jump to that. Since Donald Trump came back into office, 26 lawsuits, I believe, is the number that you've either signed on to or filed yourself against the president. It's actually 29 at
29
this point.
now.
Yeah.
You never know by the day. Your critics would say this is classic weaponization of your office against someone you just don't agree with politically.
Well, I think if people are saying that, it's because they don't know the nature of these lawsuits. And the vast majority of this litigation, this is money that, tax dollars that were paid by Michigan residents or Michigan businesses went to the federal government and was congressionally allocated to come back to Michigan for all kinds of important programming. And then the Trump administration withheld the money from the state of Michigan. And so these are for things, like the funding of our schools, roads, infrastructure, our libraries, public health grants. The list goes on and on. So we have now recovered over $1.6 billion in money that was illegally, unconstitutionally withheld from the state of Michigan. And even when I talk to Republicans in the legislature, they might not say this publicly, but privately they'll say to me, we're so glad that you were able to recover that money. We were counting on that money. And again, I want to make it clear to everyone, that's our money.
Yeah.
That's money that Michigan, taxpayers paid to the federal government.
Are these the funds that were said that are going to go directly back to the state, or at least promised by the administration, by bypassing, say, the Department of Education, for example? Or are these different funds?
It's a variety of funds.
Okay.
Some of it does involve the Department of Education, and that's been a number of our lawsuits. But, they've spanned across the spectrum of many different types of funding, including, FEMA, emergency, money for relief for when we have disasters.
Yeah.
We're talking about over $100 million that was illegally withheld from the state. We need that money. And again, Congress appropriated it to us. So the Trump administration can't just come in and say, we've decided unilaterally that Michigan's not going to get that money.
Let me grab a couple other topics here. Line 5 pipeline, where your office has, where does your office stand right now on possibly shutting down Line 5?
Well, we still have a case that is pending in the Ingham County Circuit Court before Judge Jamo, and motions for summary judgment there. We're waiting to see whether or not there's going to be a stay that's issued on the Circuit Court making a decision on that, because now a petition of certiorari has been granted by the United States Supreme Court on a related issue, not the exact same issue, but a related issue. So we're waiting to see if that'll move forward. But I will say this, the one thing I will give Enbridge credit for, I don't give them credit for trying to protect the Great Lakes or caring much about the, safety, economic security of the state of Michigan, but I will give them credit for their stalling tactics. And, I filed the case in 2019, and we don't even have a decision yet from a circuit court judge in this matter, which is, of course, one of the lower courts, expecting that this will, of course, go up to an appeal later.
People think it would explode our price at the pump, though, if it does get shut down one day. Is that not a concern?
No, not at all. And in fact, one of the first things that the governor did when she took office is to commission a study specifically on how those costs would be absorbed, what, for the same amount of energy that goes through Line 5, how we would make up for it. And they found that there was practically no price difference at all. So we know that's not true.
Okay. I want to talk about something you've talked about in the past. You fought consistently against the utilities, DTE, and consumers when it comes to price hike. The Detroit News reporting this week, the governor's newest appointee to the MPSC, Shaquilla Myers, is being called a victory for the utilities because previously she has privately, according to sources with the Detroit News, fought to help those utilities. Does that appointment worry you?
I think that, it's a concern to me. It's a concern because she replaced a board member who we thought cared deeply about consumers and also about environmental concerns. We know that there was a lot of proposed legislation when Joe Tate was Speaker that would have held the utilities accountable and would have made sure that you couldn't see this endless escalation year after year after year in the rates that consumers pay. And so, yeah, I mean, it became clear to me that both the former Speaker as well as, of course, Ms. Myers seemed to have pretty close relationships with both DTE and with Consumers Energy. And those kinds of relationships worry me. We'll wait and see what happens with the Public Service Commission. But, I have fought each and every one of these rate increases, sometimes very successfully, sometimes not as successfully, but we always challenge them and we always say, if you are saying that you need to raise our rates, you better prove why in right before the commission. And we offer testimony, we have witnesses, and we have tried to ensure that those rates are not increasing. But, you know, will this appointment to the commission make a difference? It may, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Can you answer in 5 seconds if you're going to run for a new office after next year?
No, I can't answer that question.
Oh, I thought we almost had an answer.
You know, listen, the job I have right now is the most important job I could be doing, and I'm concerned about doing anything that interferes with me doing my day job. But
so we have to wait and see.
You'll have to wait and see.
All right.
You can watch the rest of Flashpoint over on clickondetroit.com or live Sunday mornings at 10 on Local 4 and right here on Local 4 Plus. We're going to come back in just a minute with your headlines of the day, including controversy brewing again in Hamtramck. 2 councilmen in hot water over the election. Welcome back. The growing controversy in Hamtramck City Council chambers now heading to the courthouse. A special prosecutor now charging 2 Hamtramck City Council members. Priya Mann explains when prosecutors believe this all started.
The allegations stem from 2023, and the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office says multiple law enforcement agencies were involved in this investigation, which spanned several months. Let me show you the officials that have been charged. We're talking about 2 Hamtramck City Council members. Mudasin Sadman and Mohammed Hassan have both been charged after a months-long investigation into election fraud. Both men are accused of forging an absentee ballot application. Sadman is also accused of helping 2 people who weren't eligible to vote in the 2023 election. Now, in March, AG Nessel asked for a special prosecutor to look into election crimes involving 4 current and 1 former Hamtramck City Council members. The investigation started after the city clerk noticed strange patterns with absentee ballots, like the same handwriting on multiple envelopes and large bundles of ballots turned in at once. Both men are not up for re-election this year. We did reach out to both of them via email. And again, these charges come amid ongoing lawsuits and other investigations. In Hamtramck, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, Priya, thank you. Voters over in Taylor will not get to decide on the city's towing future this November. We've been following the debate over the city's deal with area towing for some time. In May, the mayor tried to end the contract because of high prices, but a court said it was illegal. Last night, City Council tried to vote on a plan to let voters decide on extending area towing by a month on a month-to-month contract, but 3 city council members did not show up, so there couldn't be a vote. The deadline, the council, I should say, will try again next week. Well, Focus Hope closing its Head Start program after losing federal funding. The program helps hundreds of young kids and families with early learning, food, health, and family support to get ready for the school year. This is the first time in more than 10 years neighborhoods won't have access to Head Start. The group says low-income families will have no alternative. Focus Hope is holding a town hall today at their building on Oakland Boulevard to meet and to share more information with families. Well, don't expect any orange barrels on I-375 anytime soon. MDOT is pausing the freeway project. MDOT officials say it's pumping the brakes because of rising costs and concerns from the community. The plan would have rebuilt the interchange to make it easier to get from neighborhoods into downtown with more street closings. MDOT plans to hold more public meetings to get more feedback and reevaluate the next steps. We're going to come back in 2 minutes with a check of the forecast, which includes some severe weather from Ashley, plus a live look at Port Huron this morning. Thousands of people will be taking part in an annual tradition this weekend, but the U.S. and Canadian Coast Guards are saying, let's hold on just 1 minute. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Let's take a live look at some My Picks this morning. This one coming in from Waterford Township. Look at that little low rainbow there from Denise Strong. This is in her backyard following yesterday's storm. Also in Waterford Township, this rainbow of the Oakland County International Airport. You can submit My Picks. Just scan the QR code there on your screen or go to the My Picks page on clickondetroit.com to upload yours right now. Okay, a live look at the St. Clair River in Port Huron this morning, where this weekend, thousands are expected to take part in the Port Huron Float Down on Sunday. However, if you are going to be floating down the 7.5-mile stretch of river, please be advised Canadian and U.S. Coast Guards are warning people to avoid this year's event. They say it's too dangerous because of strong currents, crowding, and bad weather. So if you are going, you are urged to wear life jackets, avoid alcohol, and stay near the shore. Vessel traffic will be restricted during the event for everyone's safety. Let's check in with Ashley for more weather headlines, including some storms on the horizon for today. Hey, Ash.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
It's going to be a stormy and steamy Tuesday, toasty as well, but we will have some relief as we head through the middle and later part of the week. But we have to get through the heat and humidity today, where our feels like temperatures will be back well into the 90s. But the storm chances later on today will bring relief behind it. But of course, that we have to be on alert for the chance of them becoming strong to severe. And the break that we have from the heat is kind of minimal, but the humidity taking a step backward will be what we really notice. So we do have a smoke layer draping the Midwest through the Great Lakes, and so that'll bring us some of that hazy sunshine for today. And then we get a few of those afternoon showers and storms developing. And so forecasting a high of 90, but likely feeling like low to mid 90s because of the heat index. Now we have a chance for storms after about 2, but really the more numerous storms, at least with our model data, look to be after 5 o'clock. So more of an evening event, but I'm just not ruling out midday through afternoon, seeing some of those discrete cells fire off. So I just want you to be weather aware throughout the afternoon. Feels like forecast. Well, we could be right around 94 for the heat index from Metro Airport towards City Airport down towards Monroe. It's a marginal level 1 risk for severe weather today, which means our primary threats will be damaging wind gusts and the possibility for some localized flooding. The wind risk does drape all of southeastern Michigan, which means we could see wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. Better chance for some of those storms to be in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. And as far as the rainfall forecast, not overly impressive. We're talking ½ of an inch to an inch. However, the bulk of the rain looks to be up towards Saginaw and Lansing, but I'm not ruling out localized spots that have those heavy downpours. And just because of how quickly it comes down, that leads to some of the standing water. And so an hour by hour look throughout the afternoon, where I stop the clock at 7, that's where we do see more numerous showers and storms, the heavier rain indicated in red there, and that should start to dissipate after sunset, but we're not necessarily done. After midnight, you still could get a passing downpour, but by daybreak tomorrow, mostly dry. We're peeling back the clouds throughout the day, and a drier air mass builds in. If only we could time this out a little bit earlier, because the Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight. We'll likely have some rain and cloud cover across the area, but don't worry, you still can take in this meteor shower all the way through about August 23rd. So that'll be for some nighttime viewing. In the meantime, breaking down the 7-day forecast, coolest day, 84. So still warm, but not as muggy. So Thursday is going to be beautiful with sunshine, warming things up a couple more degrees Friday. And then by the weekend, we're back towards 90 degrees. And even though we get some sunshine Sunday, there will be a chance for some afternoon showers and storms.
All right, thank you, Ashley. A sweet victory for one amazing treat. A live look at Mackinac Island right now. Next, a look at a major award, plus a glaring spelling error. And producer Mary didn't make it. Time for another reveal of our vote for the best winners, a fitting category for this time of day because we're talking about the best bagels in Metro Detroit. Taking the top spot for best bagels is the Detroit Bagel Factory in Livonia. followed by Eastside Bagels in St. Clair Shores, Elaine's Bagels in Utica, Bev's Bagels in Detroit, and the James Oliver Coffee Company in Detroit as well. You can check out the full list again and see more of our reveals right now over on clickondetroit.com. We're going to be making these reveals all week right here on Local 4 Live. Tomorrow morning, we'll unveil the best breweries. Let's take a live look at Mackinac Island this morning, home to Michigan's best desserts, according to Condé Nast Traveler. They just dropped their list of the best desserts from all 50 states, and Mackinac Island fudge took crown for Michigan. Now, this list has some pretty unique sweets like sweet blue corn mush in Arkansas, a date shake in California, and listen to this one, an ice cream potato in Idaho. That's ice cream on a baked potato. I don't understand it. I'm sure it melts immediately. I need to see it, but it's true. There's also a slight hitch, though, for Michiganders. On Condé Nast's Instagram, they spell Mackinac Island fudge with a W. This has upset producer Mary beyond anything you can imagine. She was hooting and hollering, yelling in the newsroom. Very upset. As a reminder, we spell it with the C. Just saying. Are you okay, Mary? She's not okay. Well, much more ahead, including a look at a TikTok trend called fiber maxing. Is there such a thing as too much fiber for your diet and your health? An expert from Henry Ford is weighing in. And then our next Go For It event is focusing on school supplies. Kimberly Gill and I will be hosting it down in Southgate to tell you how you can get involved. And if you don't have lunch plans, don't you worry. I've got the plans for you. What is the best sandwich in Metro Detroit? Chef and food influencer Carlos Parisi is going to join me here in studio to reveal his top 10 list. He knows what he's talking about. He hosts a major sandwich party every year at Eastern Market. More news and weather in our next hour. Stay with us. Local 4 Live. We'll be right back.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you for streaming us here on Local 4 Plus, YouTube, and the clickondetroit.com app. Let's get to some of your headlines this morning, and so much to talk about, starting with the weather. It is hot and humid out there right now, and we could be in for some severe storms later on. The forewarned weather team says strong to severe thunderstorms are possible after lunch, but more likely around dinner time, like 5 o'clock. Ashley Barrissey is tracking all of that for us. And then, how many of you are getting health advice from TikTok? Maybe not a great idea. So we brought in a real expert from Henry Ford Health about this new fiber maxing trend. How much fiber is too much fiber? We're going to break it down for you. And then we're talking sandwiches. Chef, food influencer, and Local 4 contributor Carlos Parisi just dropped a new article on clickondetroit.com listing his favorite sandwiches in Metro Detroit. He did the same thing last year. It was one of our top articles of the entire year. So all of you love your sandwiches. That new list is going to be live right here on Local 4 Live. And speaking of, I want to hear from you. What is your favorite sandwich spot in Metro Detroit? Get specific. Tell us the restaurant and what you actually order there. When we talk about that, I'll bring it up to Carlos, see what he thinks about it. We'll figure it out. Let's get through some of your headlines on this Tuesday morning. This morning, 4 people are in a hospital recovering after they were all shot last night. This happened at the Sheridan Place apartment complex on East Jefferson near the Belle Isle Bridge. Now, police say a man there was complaining about loud noises from a barbecue. It then went downstairs and started shooting people. He hit several of them, 3 of them. One of those victims tackled the gunman, and a Good Samaritan shot the suspect in self-defense. Investigators say it will be a lengthy case, and all of those involved are between their early 60s and late 70s. No word yet on what charges are going to be filed. Over in Highland Park, this is the aftermath of a police chase that snapped a utility pole at John R. in Massachusetts. State police say Highland Park officers were chasing a stolen U-Haul when the driver tried to ram the police vehicles. The truck crashed and the 34-year-old suspect took off but was caught on foot. Police say no other officers or troopers were hurt. Well, happening today, prosecutors will try to show enough evidence to send a man charged with murder to trial. Givante Clark is accused of killing Jessica Bedford inside of his home. She disappeared 5 years ago. Her body has never been found. A state police investigation led to Clark's arrest in April. This morning, a judge is going to review the evidence and decide whether that case is going to move forward. Over the past few years, TikTok has given us some fun trends, like, what is your Roman Empire? Or we listen, we don't judge. Some of them are health trends. They've got benefits, but some can be dangerous, like the no sunscreen challenge or the budget Ozempic trend. That was a bad idea. A survey from last year shows that 56% of Gen Zers turned to TikTok for health and wellness advice. And now there's a new trend called fiber maxing. It's getting a lot of attention. It involves eating foods high in fiber, like chia seeds and strawberries, raspberries, to help with digestion and weight loss. Is this a good idea, though? Is eating so much fiber so fast a good idea? Ashley Carnahan, a registered dietitian with Henry Ford Health, has all the answers for us. You brought some props. First of all, thank you for being a real licensed person and not a TikTok trend.
Yes, of course.
That must be very frustrating.
Well, that's part of the role, and I love educating the public and giving them science-based answers, so thank you for
How often are the TikTok trends just way off the mark?
I mean, there's always some truth to it, right?
Okay,
But
okay.
you always want to reach out, if it's a nutrition thing, to your registered dietitian to get the right facts.
Okay, so let's talk about fiber maxing. I'm assuming at some point too much is too much, right?
Absolutely, and I think the key here is fiber is great for you and it's healthy, and most of us don't get enough.
Right.
But you got to do it slowly. You can't just start going crazy, because what happens is you can cause a lot of GI upset. And I also want to point out, if you have a chronic GI condition, please speak with your provider or registered dietitian before you start increasing your fiber.
Okay, so this trend is basically saying eat all the fiber you can, just max it out. You're saying kind of slowly build up, or is there like a limit?
Yes, you want to slowly build up, because You can limit your fiber to a certain degree. Most of the time it's fine if you get 25 to 38 grams of fiber. That's what we should be getting here as Americans.
Okay.
Most of us do not.
Okay.
But if you start exceeding that, that's when you might start seeing that big time GI upset.
Okay.
If you don't do it gradually. And while you're doing this, making sure you're drinking a lot of water is definitely helpful.
So when you say GI upset, not to get too graphic here, but we're talking about constipation, right?
Yep, or diarrhea. Insoluble or soluble fiber could do either one of the two. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so two way opposite end of the spectrum then, but both are a problem.
Yes. But
don't laugh, Michelle.
But it's great for you. Things like raspberries, they provide a lot of fiber and not to mention a lot of great nutrition, a lot of antioxidants that help you with fighting chronic conditions. So there is some great benefits to adding more fiber in your diet, but just do it slowly and speak with your professional to make sure your registered dietitian can guide you in the right path.
Don't just shove it all in your mouth at the same time.
Right.
So you said 28 to 30 grams per day. Is that what?
25 to 30.
25 to 30.
Yep, and that's between men and women. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, not everybody's an individual, right? And that's why it's important to make sure that you speak with your registered dietitian to get the exact amount that would provide you.
So in front of us here, what combination is a good one?
All of them, really. And to be honest with you, I added all this up, and this would be just maxing our fiber. This is about 38 grams of fiber.
Oh, so all of this?
All of this, yes.
Oh.
But that is if you eat the sweet potato skin.
Oh.
So most of us don't eat our potato skins, but
Right.
that's where all the nutrition is. And honestly, it's good.
You
if
can't
cook
eat
it
the
right.
skin?
I love
Because when
it.
I do it, I get weird looks.
You know what I do? I eat the skin first and I take out the potato because I fill up on the healthy stuff first. And I like it, especially if a baked potato is cooked well.
Right.
It tastes good.
So the skin is better for you than what's inside?
I mean, I don't want to use the word better, but it's definitely got some great benefits.
I like it. Okay, so all of this could be your daily fiber intake.
Yeah, this could be your daily fiber intake.
I see avocado.
Yes, and that's
I would not think of that as good fiber.
It is actually. So 1/2, this is a small avocado, so we would say 2 of these would be about 5 grams of fiber.
Oh, no kidding.
And that's great on salads, right? Slice some avocado, even on your turkey sandwich. And again, it's providing some other great benefits along with the fiber. It's giving you those healthy fats.
Gotcha. See, she's slipping the sandwich thing. She heard about the sandwiches. Coming. Okay, we're going to take a short 90-second break. We'll come back right after this. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. Talking with registered dietitian at Henry Ford Health, Ashley Carnahan. Thank you again for joining us. So we've talked about the great things that you can do to get more fiber into your diet. Maybe not max out though, 38 tops, probably for men, right?
Right.
Now let's talk about the preparation though, because the way you cook this depends, changes the nutrients, right?
It can. The thing is, what's important is the spinach, for example.
Okay.
Right? We have 1 cup of raw spinach, but if you cook spinach, it'd be a ½ a cup. So you would actually need a little less, but you would still get the fiber.
Why is that?
It shrinks down.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science here, Nick. I got it.
And
It's
you know
smaller.
what's really nice, and I do this with my kids as well with the spinach, is I secretly add it into pasta. So they get a little bit of green stuff and they don't realize it. And same goes for, you know, I want to point out the apple skins. I think parents so often just peel their kids' apples or pears and just let them eat the skin. They'll eventually like it, I promise.
Right. So, you know, part of the trend has to do with weight loss. Is there some connection between the amount of fiber you're taking in to weight loss?
I think that if you fill up on fiber, you're less likely to fill up on those goodies like candy, cookies, cakes, right? Because fiber does make us full and it stays in our system longer. So I think that definitely could help with the weight loss. But you know, fiber is also a great thing. It could help lower your cholesterol, your blood sugars, if you have diabetes. You know, there's a lot of great benefits to fiber along with potential weight loss. So
it's not necessarily the nutrients in the fibers, it's the fact that it's just making us a little more full.
Right, and there is good nutrients in the foods that have fiber though, right? Yeah.
In general terms, you know, I think that it is often overlooked at how a well-balanced meal can contribute to a healthy life. Do you have that kind of issue where people just don't realize that all of the different things that we're eating can lead to chronic issues later on in your life?
Yes, and you know, the first thing I do is I tell my patients, start with adding more fruits and vegetables to your diet. Most Americans do not, like I said, get enough fiber or fruits and vegetables, which is what fiber is most of the time. We didn't talk about beans, but that's another great place to get fiber.
Okay, any beans?
Yeah, pinto, black beans, chickpeas are great. Another
garbanzo?
Thing, yeah, all of them are very healthy, and all of them contribute to a plant-based diet for protein as well. But again, leading to the extra vegetables, extra fruit, that's a great place to start. If you want to make changes to your diet, adding that extra fruit a day or adding that extra vegetable a day is a great gradual process to provide you an overall healthy diet, right? And that's where most of us are lacking, is those fruits and vegetables.
Right. Okay, so one last thing on fiber maxing then. We've talked about complications of, you know, in GI. Can there be more serious issues if we have too much of this?
It could eventually, if you're not drinking enough water and you're maxing out above 38 grams of fiber per day, it can cause chronic constipation, potentially nutrient loss, because again, if you have constipation, you're not absorbing some of that nutrients that you need, your intestine. So it can, over a long-term period of time, but again, if you do it gradually and you stick to 25 to 38 grams, you're probably okay, because that's where most of us should be anyways.
Right. How do I know how much fiber is in this broccoli? Like, what's the best way for me to measure and calculate this stuff?
So generally speaking, you can always read the nutrition label, look at the serving size, the grams of fiber, because every food is a little bit different, right? So I can't, but as far as broccoli goes, I would say 5 grams per a half a cup, or you know, that would be like an average, although raspberries are a little bit higher. That's like 8 or 9 grams per. So again, looking at your food label,
but it's all on the label there.
It should be on the label, total fiber content, and that actually helps you look at the other overall picture of
what else is in
the
here?
nutrient profile,
right.
But again, the fresh food, that's always going to have more fiber than like your processed foods, right? So generally speaking, fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains, 100% whole wheat bread, those are all going to contain fiber.
Gotcha. Okay. Want to stick around for some sandwiches? See how much fiber's in them?
I mean, I don't mind.
Throw some avocado on there. Okay.
Avocado.
Ashley, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. When we come back forward, meteorologist Ashley Barassi is going to track some storms that could turn severe today and an early look at just how rough of a winter we could have here in Metro Detroit. Well, it is still August and it's 90 degrees today, but we're about to talk winter. That's because we're getting a sneak peek at the Farmer's Almanac predictions for Metro Detroit. The Almanac says the Great Lakes will have a good old-fashioned winter with normal amounts of snow and cold. And not surprising, they think we'll see some cold and snow in late fall, with it lasting into April. The Almanac typically comes out in late August or early September. Our Kim Adams wrote an article for clickondetroit.com. She takes us through the predictions for other parts of the country as well. You can read that right now. Okay, let's get to Ashley with the rest of your forecast, including some potential severe weather.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
It's going to be a stormy and steamy Tuesday, toasty as well, but we will have some relief as we head through the middle and later part of the week. But we have to get through the heat and humidity today, where our feels like temperatures will be back well into the 90s. But the storm chances later on today will bring relief behind it. But of course, that we have to be on alert for the chance of them becoming strong to severe. And the break that we have from the heat is kind of minimal, but the humidity taking a step backward will be what we really notice. So we do have a smoke layer draping the Midwest through the Great Lakes, and so that'll bring us some of that hazy sunshine for today. And then we get a few of those afternoon showers and storms developing. And so forecasting a high of 90, but likely feeling like low to mid 90s because of the heat index. Now we have a chance for storms after about 2, but really the more numerous storms, at least with our model data, look to be after 5 o'clock. So more of an evening event, but I'm just not ruling out midday through afternoon, seeing some of those discrete cells fire off. So I just want you to be weather aware throughout the afternoon. Feels like forecast, well, we could be right around 94 for the heat index from Metro Airport towards City Airport down towards Monroe. It's a marginal level 1 risk for severe weather today, which means our primary threats will be damaging wind gusts and the possibility for some localized flooding. The wind risk does drape all of southeastern Michigan, which means we could see wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. Better chance for some of those storms to be in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. And as far as the rainfall forecast, not overly impressive. We're talking half of an inch to an inch. However, the bulk of the rain looks to be up towards Saginaw and Lansing, but I'm not ruling out localized spots that have those heavy downpours. And just because of how quickly it comes down, that leads to some of the standing water. And so an hour by hour look throughout the afternoon, where I stopped the clock at 7, that's where we do see more numerous showers and storms, the heavier rain indicated in red there, and that should start to dissipate after sunset, but we're not necessarily done. After midnight, you still could get a passing downpour, but by daybreak tomorrow, mostly dry. We're peeling back the clouds throughout the day and a drier air mass builds in. If only we could time this out a little bit earlier because the Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight. We'll likely have some rain and cloud cover across the area, but don't worry, you still can take in this meteor shower all the way through about August 23rd. So that'll be for some nighttime viewing. In the meantime, breaking down the 7-day forecast, coolest day, 84. So still warm, but not as muggy. So Thursday is going to be beautiful with sunshine, warming things up a couple more degrees Friday. And then by the weekend, we're back towards 90 degrees. And even though we get some sunshine Sunday, there will be a chance for some afternoon showers and storms.
Ashley, thank you much. Let's take a live look at Detroit right now as we help kids kick off the school year ready to succeed, and you can help us be a part of it. You can join the Local 4 family and the Salvation Army Thursday for our Go For It school supply drive in Southgate when we come back. Welcome back. 9:21 here on Tuesday morning. Now Thursday morning, 2 days from now, I will be kicking off Local 4's next Go For It event. It's your opportunity to help children start the school year off right. Now we're holding a school supply drive at the Walmart on Dix Toledo Road in Southgate. It starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, goes until 6 o'clock at night. We're teaming up with the Salvation Army Downriver Corps for this event. And speaking of, guess who just happens to be live in studio? Lieutenant Sean Sutter from the Salvation Army Downriver Corps. Thank you so much for being here. What an excellent opportunity for people to help the kids and the families who need some help right now. Can you kind of walk us through what the conversations are like in the Downriver community and what's needed and what the need is?
Yeah, so we have a variety of needs that come in through our Corps. We serve all of Downriver, and the need is great as far as school supplies because people are wondering where they're going to get their backpacks from, where they're going to get their schools, because let's be honest, the price is going up.
Everything is, yeah.
I have 4 kids of my own. My youngest is 19, so I know what the prices were when they were in school. And
it didn't get any cheaper, I can tell you that.
No, it didn't get any cheaper. It went up, and I mean, it's an awesome event for us because we're able to help people. When our kids were younger, we would participate in the Stuff the Bus, but we would be recipients. And growing up, we would be recipients of assistance because we needed it. And what I like about when we give the supplies away is that there's no income requirement. If you're in Downriver, one of the zip codes that we serve, you can come. I mean, yeah. Need knows no reason, and no season. So we don't need to know how much you make. If you have a need, we're there to supply it.
I don't want to bring up, childhood, but kind of walk me back through the days where you and your family were trying to figure out how to make things work and what it was like, the relief you felt, maybe even as a kid, to get a backpack and some of the supplies, just not have to worry about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you get that brand new backpack and you get all your supplies, you're like, yes, you're so excited because as a kid, you don't have to worry, and we never had to worry about where things were coming because my mom made it happen. She was a single mom, 4 kids, and She raised us by herself for 8 years, and we never had a need because she always supplied. So we didn't understand that struggle that she went through until we had our own kids.
Yeah.
And when you're low income, low to middle, or I mean, we were low income, and we got assistance where needed, and Salvation Army was always there. Yeah. My wife grew up in the Salvation Army, and I never knew what the Salvation Army was until I met her. And that's a whole funny story that she wanted to go to church, and I was like, where? She said, the Salvation Army, and I laughed because I didn't know it was a church at the time. And now here I am 20 years later, and I'm a pastor with Salvation.
Right, now it's the job.
So it's, and I love it. I mean, it's the most rewarding job that I've ever had and that I ever will have.
Yeah, so what's it like on the giveaway days where the families, do families line up? Like, do you see the joy in their eyes when you're able to take that burden off of them?
My joy comes not from the adults, sorry, parents. My joy comes from the kids when you hand them that brand new backpack. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have it to where they can pick out their own backpack, so we're not just giving them one. I just love when the kids get excited, because that gets me excited. Yeah. Because they are our future, and not only our future, they are now. Right. There's what keeps parents going, what keeps pastors going, what keeps people going is to watch the joy of kids.
Right. I mean, you're tugging on heartstrings. You're doing a great job, but this is your moment here. Plead to everybody out there who's watching on why they should donate on Thursday.
Yeah. So on Thursday we will be set up at the Salvation or at the Walmart in Southgate. We need your help. I mean, we have over 45,000 kids that are in the Downriver communities, and
it's a lot of backpacks.
I would love to say that we're going to provide for all 45,000. That would be crazy, but a good crazy. But those that are in need, we definitely need your assistance.
Yeah, we love good crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, good crazy.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. Good to meet you. Okay, as a reminder, the Go For It event happening this Thursday at the Walmart on Dix-Toledo Road in Southgate from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. We'll be there all day. You can just drop off those supplies. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. When we come back, are you hungry for a sandwich? You might be, after we talk about some of the best sandwich spots here in Metro Detroit. We're going to talk to a local chef and foodie about his top 10 list, which includes spots all over Metro Detroit.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, good morning, everybody. We have been waiting for this next segment all day long. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you for watching. Now, before you make your lunch plans, just drop everything you're doing and pay attention, because we are talking about a man dedicated to sandwiches his entire life. His partner might even take a backseat to sandwiches. I don't know if that's fair to say. I've got foodie Carlos Parisi here to reveal his top 10 most craveable sandwiches. Now, he wrote a list for us last year. It was one of the best read articles on clickondetroit.com. And now the next list is out, titled My 2025 List of the 10 Most Craveable Sandwiches in Metro Detroit right now. All right, Carlos is here. He is the owner of Anthony's Chips and Salsa, which happens to be over here. Some good salsa. He's got a big sandwich party we're going to talk about. Let's just talk about the list, though, first, right?
Oh, man.
Okay, so we've got some of them.
So
these look incredible.
Long story short, this is my craveable list, right? Like, This is just a list that I put together. I don't know what the best is. There's no such thing as the best to me.
Any sandwich is good.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't have a bad sandwich.
But the
Actually,
things that I dream about, the sandwiches that I truly just tell everybody, I scream from the mountaintops about, are the 10 that I wrote in this article.
Okay.
And here's 3 of them right here.
What do we got?
We've got Mike's Ham Sandwich, one of the most classic sandwiches that you'll find in Detroit right now.
Yep.
In Detroit, we don't have diners. We've got Coney's and we got ham shops, right?
Right.
And a ham shop, if you get a ham sandwich, it's stacked ham, pickles, cheese, yellow mustard on an onion roll or a Kaiser roll.
Pretty simple, but very tasty.
Why would you want anything else? Grab a bite. You want a bite? Get a bite. I think you deserve a bite. You've been here long enough.
We're going. Don't you worry. I have a mustard issue. I'll explain.
Another one that I did is Alba. Here, I'm going to pick up this one.
Okay.
Alba is a coffee shop here in Corktown.
Okay.
And they do
this one here?
Fluffy, custardy egg.
Man, I literally, before you get, I thought that was pineapple.
No.
So what is this here?
Custardy egg.
Yeah.
That's been like kind of like in a like a wet bath, like that's how you make it fluffy, how you make it.
Wet bath.
Well, you know, like a bain marie. I don't know how to say it, but and then you do the cheese, the chive, the chopped up chive, and a really nice aioli too. All this on a brioche bun, man.
Oh my.
I just had to take a bite. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's TV. You can keep going. Don't worry about that.
And then over there,
incredible.
From Mitsos, which I've gone on record as saying probably one of my favorite places to eat in the city. Period.
Yep.
Greek street food spot in Eastern Market that does it right.
Yeah.
This is their souvlaki pita.
Wow.
They do all different kinds of sandwiches. On last year's article, I wrote about their breakfast sandwiches. But honestly, this year I've been continuously going back to this sandwich. And it's because of this skewer right here. Check this out. So Jimmy and his family from Greece.
Yep.
In Greece, they're known for this stick of meat.
Really? Why?
The souvlaki.
Okay.
Because the way that they make it, the marination, the marinade that they do, the texture of the meat. If you like meat, take a bite of that.
There it is.
And they put it into a pita, Greek street food style, with the fries, with
crap.
the tomato, with the onion,
Dude.
with the tzatziki sauce, and their homemade pita.
That's incredible.
For one piece of meat, they're known in the entire country of Greece for that.
I understand why.
And we get it here.
Wow.
There's 7 other sandwiches on there, including the whole write-up that I did about the mortadella sandwich right now, which has been hitting everybody's peak.
Yeah.
Obviously, saffron de trois. So many favorites that I consider just heavy hitters. And that's
How do you narrow it down, though? Because this is a good food city. Like, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
I completely agree.
Right?
Narrowing it down for me is just what's most consistent in my everyday repertoire or the places that I continue to think about, right?
Yeah, right.
You know, the people that have opened up things recently that I'm just like, well, they're doing it way right. I haven't seen something like this before. Or the people that have been doing something for so long, like Mike's, and have consistently done it the right way.
So let me ask this then. Is there such a thing as a bad sandwich? Because I've seen people try some weird things and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Have you ever seen the Gordon Ramsay video about him doing grilled cheese? There's a such thing as a bad sandwich. No offense against Gordon Ramsay, he's a great guy. But boy, oh boy, grilled cheese for me, that's American bread, butter, and American cheese. Keep it simple.
Just very simple.
Yeah,
and sometimes
for sure.
keep it simple is the best way to go.
That's kind of the way that I
kind of
live
like
my
this
life.
Mike sandwich, right? I mean, that's some good ham. That's some good ham. Okay, so The list is out on clickondetroit.com right now. Let's talk about the party, because you've got a whole sandwich festival happening, right?
This is year 2 of the Detroit Sandwich Party. So last year we did this, 20-something vendors, all inside of Shed 5 at Eastern Market, and it turned out to be one of the most incredible days of my life.
The sandwich party.
3,000 people packed into this shed, and this year we're going for 5. Because we've actually expanded the footprint out of Shed 5 just a little bit. Still going to be there August 31st, which is the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. Okay. So that means you get the next day to digest all those sandwiches. Think about all that drink
Recover
that you
from your
had.
food coma, basically, right?
Yeah.
So how does it work? Do I buy a ticket to get all you can eat, or am I buying individual sandwiches, different vendors? How does that work out?
Super easy. So it's free to attend. You just walk in.
It's free?
And then you can buy sandwiches from all these different vendors.
I thought you said free sandwiches. I got real excited.
Well, everybody's doing small versions of their sandwiches.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So then
that way you can sample, you can walk around.
Exactly.
How many vendors?
Considerably more effective or economic.
Right.
We're looking at 30, 35 vendors right now.
You can try 35 different sandwiches in one spot?
Yep.
And it's not just sandwiches, right?
Well, it is sandwiches, but it's not just sandwich vendors. So there's people like Sapino that don't necessarily do sandwiches.
It's not a sandwich spot.
That are doing sandwiches.
Really?
Because one day out of the year, they're like, let's flex.
Let's see if we can come up with
Yeah, why not?
All right, so we got the list, we've got the party. You also have a pretty good, you got some swag.
Oh, yeah, for
I can
sure.
get some Detroit.
Here, this is for you, actually. I brought you that.
Oh, I'm gonna rock this on the way out of here
And then
today.
shirts.
This is a good look. Okay, we've got something special we want to show, because we've been working alongside of you on a really cool project. You want to kind of lay it out a little bit?
I love food. Food is, it's obviously,
Back
as
to
you
you.
can tell here, it's my favorite thing to do, to talk about, to eat, to make. I think that it's just the one thing that makes us all really come together as a world, not even just as a society or a culture, but the whole world comes together over a meal. Yeah. And to me, that's so important. So I've worked together with the Channel 4 WDIV team to put together a show about food here in our city, and the reason why people do what they do.
Right, this is called Carlos Eats Detroit, and here's a little sneak peek.
I'm Carlos Parisi, a food head, business owner out of Eastern Market, a writer, cook. More importantly, I'm a Detroiter, and I'm always on the hunt for what's best. And I usually have a pretty good craving. Today I've got a craving for pizza. In terms of Detroit-style pizza, I don't think that there's a better example of what that means than right here at Michigan and Trumbull. The magic, that epic sauce, all the fresh toppings. This is worth it. What up, dough? I'm skimping on my own pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to skimp on my own pizza.
This is cowabunga for a reason. It needs to like go full bunga. This is our house-infused garlic oil. Yeah, you should smell it.
It's just an endless cheese bowl. This is Detroit style pizza, isn't it? Grandma Bob's.
What up?
Why is no one talking about this?
What more could you want in life?
You know when you close your eyes, you're biting something, and then you float? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just felt that. This is what you come here for. This is it. This is Cliff's. You can only get Cliff's from Cliff. Facts. Man.
This pizza hits Clifford. I'm sorry. It is what it is, bro.
Unbelievable. Carlos Eats Detroit premiere is August 25th, 8 p.m. streaming right here on Local 4 Plus. It looks so good. And that's just one episode, right? That's just the pizza.
Just pizza.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody so excited about the cheese bowl. I mean, that went on for like 2 feet.
It was a really long cheese bowl. And how could you not be excited about cheese? It's cheese. Cheese is great.
Awesome. Okay, one last question for you. If somebody was trying to describe the Detroit food scene, what do you think is like a sentence that does it?
Hardworking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, everybody in this city, when they put something, they're determined to make it just unique, different, delicious. They want people to be excited about it, but not just the people around them or in their neighborhood. They want all of their friends to love it. They want the people to come from the outreaches, but it really is just giving an ode to the people who have done this before as well.
Right.
It's one of those instances of like, you know, we're only as good as the people before us. You have to understand that Detroit is a work of art, and in order to add your mark, you have to learn what that art looks like.
You know, it's funny too, because he's already a TV guy. You tell him one sentence and 2 paragraphs later, he's done. Carlos, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You. Thank you very much.
Can't wait to see it come out August 25th, 8 p.m. right here on Local 4 Plus. When we come back, we're going to break down the stock market as we look at the board right now. What Wall Street could see as President Trump extends a trade deal with deadline with China when we come back. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. The stock market is officially open for the day as we take a look at the big board right now. You can see currently up about 0.6%. As I always say, you never know what the day is going to look like. But Wall Street currently reacting to new numbers we just got in on inflation about half an hour ago. Consumer prices actually rose 2.7% in July from a year earlier. Experts say it's being offset by food and gas prices, though. So we're going to come off the heels of some slight losses for stocks yesterday. The Dow was down 200 points, NASDAQ dropped 64, and the S&P 500 lost 16 points yesterday. Let's take a look at the White House right now, where the U.S. and China are pushing back today's self-imposed deadline for reaching a trade deal. They say current tariff amounts can remain in place for another 90 days as negotiations continue. An executive order that President Trump issued last night keeps that rate for Chinese imports at 30%, as opposed to letting it rise to 54%, as specified in a previous order. China confirms its duties on U.S. imports will stay at 10% instead of climbing to 34%. Now, with all the talk of tariffs and financials, it has many asking if they should buy now or risk paying more later. It's a decision many of us have to make right now. New tariffs could mean higher prices on everything from gadgets to groceries. As Rhonda Walker shows us, Consumer Reports is cutting through some confusion, revealing when to expect prices to go up and how to save if it happens.
Tariff price hikes are on everyone's mind right now. What'll be the potential cost of tariffs this year to your family? According to a Budget Lab report from Yale University published in June, $2,000. Luckily, CR has some smart ways to shop and save, even in this topsy-turvy market.
Don't wait to buy items you already plan to purchase. If you need a laptop, you've got the money for it, and the price is held steady, it makes a lot of sense to buy it now.
Another way to save, shop for older models. TVs, laptops, and smartphones that are a year or two older often remain available at stores after newer models arrive. You might find that purchasing a factory refreshed or gently used appliance, laptop, or phone can save you some cash. Apple, Samsung, and others certify the products they resell and even offer new warranties. Or switch to a less expensive brand or model.
If prices rise, maybe an item with fewer bells and whistles suits your needs. Samsung sells a number of well-made budget phones, for example, beyond its Galaxy flagship line. They're much less expensive, and according to our tests, still do virtually everything you want a modern smartphone to do.
And finally, choose reliable products. Higher prices could persist. Choose products that are likely to serve you well in the long run. Members can use CR's ratings to review the most and least reliable brands in many categories. And Consumer Reports recently launched a price tracker that monitors the price of 16 popular products. You can see weekly price changes and decide what's best for your budget.
Well, you might want to start holiday shopping even earlier this year because some of those products are expected to go up or become unavailable. You might have to shop around to ensure that what you want is actually in stock. Now, meantime, Consumer Reports is tracking the price of popular items expected to go up because of tariffs. That includes coffee, laundry detergent, diapers, and some tech items. The tracker also compares prices at 3 major stores to help you decide where to shop. You can take a look at that tariff tracker for big items or everyday essentials. There's a link on our website over at clickondetroit.com. Okay, we're going to head back home now. Summer is always a difficult time to collect enough blood to meet the needs of patients. So we want to remind you, Local 4 is teaming up with Gardner White and the American Red Cross to help. Today, you can donate blood from 11 o'clock in the morning until 4:45 at Gardner White stores in Novi, Ann Arbor, Saginaw, and Taylor. All blood types are needed right now, but especially types O positive and B negative. You can find all the details and schedule an appointment over at clickondetroit.com, or you can go to redcrossblood.org. If you can't make it today, there will be more locations to donate on Thursday. Well, a popular event happening in just under a week in Port Huron, but the Coast Guards in the U.S. and Canada are saying maybe you shouldn't do it. We'll explain why when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. The U.S. and Canadian Coast Guards are urging people to avoid the Port Huron float down on August 17th because of safety risks. Fast currents, cold water, and alcohol consumption make this event pretty dangerous. Participants, if they decide to go, should wear life jackets and avoid alcohol. Past incidents include a drowning and massive rescue efforts. Vessel traffic restrictions will be in place to prevent accidents. Stay safe and think twice before joining that float. Ashley?
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
It's going to be a stormy and steamy Tuesday, toasty as well, but we will have some relief as we head through the middle and later part of the week. But we have to get through the heat and humidity today where our feels like temperatures will be back well into the 90s. But the storm chances later on today will bring relief behind it. But of course that we have to be on alert for the chance of them becoming strong to severe. And the break that we have from the heat is kind of minimal, but the humidity taking a step backward will be what we really notice. So we do have a smoke layer draping the Midwest through the Great Lakes, and so that'll bring us some of that hazy sunshine for today. And then we get a few of those afternoon showers and storms developing. And so forecasting a high of 90, but likely feeling like low to mid 90s because of the heat index. Now we have a chance for storms after about 2, but really the more numerous storms, at least with our model data, look to be after 5 o'clock. So more of an evening event, but I'm just not ruling out midday through afternoon, seeing some of those discrete cells fire off. So I just want you to be weather aware throughout the afternoon. Feels like forecast. Well, we could be right around 94 for the heat index from Metro Airport towards City Airport down towards Monroe. It's a marginal level 1 risk for severe weather today, which means our primary threats will be damaging wind gusts and the possibility for some localized flooding. The wind risk does drape all of southeastern Michigan, which means we could see wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. Better chance for some of those storms to be in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. And as far as the rainfall forecast, not overly impressive. We're talking ½ of an inch to an inch. However, the bulk of the rain looks to be up towards Saginaw and Lansing, but I'm not ruling out localized spots that have those heavy downpours. And just because of how quickly it comes down, that leads to some of the standing water. And so an hour by hour look throughout the afternoon, where I stopped the clock at 7, that's where we do see more numerous showers and storms, the heavier rain indicated in red there. And that should start to dissipate after sunset, but we're not necessarily done. After midnight, you still could get a passing downpour, but by daybreak tomorrow, mostly dry. We're peeling back the clouds throughout the day and a drier air mass builds in. If only we could time this out a little bit earlier, because the Perseid meteor shower peaks tonight. We'll likely have some rain and cloud cover across the area, but don't worry, you still can take in this meteor shower all the way through about August 23rd. So that'll be for some nighttime viewing. In the meantime, breaking down the 7-day forecast, coolest day, 84. So still warm, but not as muggy. So Thursday is going to be beautiful with sunshine, warming things up a couple more degrees Friday. And then by the weekend, we're back towards 90 degrees. And even though we get some sunshine Sunday, there will be a chance for some afternoon showers and storms.
Ashley, thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to check in with Tati from Live in the D to see what's happening on their show. Plus, from the stage to the screen, Taylor Swift making headlines again. Find out what news she dropped on the New Heights podcast. Welcome back, everybody. In your consumer headlines this morning, if you want to watch some of the most popular fights around, you might have to subscribe to another streaming service. If you haven't already, Paramount has bought Ultimate Fighting Championship media rights for $7.7 billion. That means the UFC's 13 marquee events and 30 fight nights will start streaming exclusively on Paramount next year. A select number of events will be simulcast on CBS, Paramount's leading broadcast network. This agreement is for 7 years and moves UFC events away from UFC's existing pay-per-view model. Well, photos going viral online show a McDonald's promotion in Japan had to end abruptly. The chaos all caused by a Pokemon card. Check this out. Photos like this one have been all over social media, showing several McDonald's bags all in the trash because many were just after the card. Some even ordered dozens of Happy Meals all at once. McDonald's says the promotion was supposed to last 3 days in Japan, but demand was so high they had to pull the plug 2 days early. And now that card is already showing up on eBay, starting around $20 per card. Well, swiftly stealing the spotlight, Taylor Swift drops a surprise album announcement at the stroke of 12/12 this morning. The album is called The Life of a Showgirl. It will be her 12th studio album. The news came as part of a sneak peek for her upcoming appearance on the New Heights podcast, hosted, of course, by the Kelsey brothers. In the clip, she pulls out a mint green briefcase with her initials, TS, written in orange. Swift hasn't released any more details yet, but Swifties hope to hear more in Wednesday's podcast episode. Tati from Live the D is here. I'm assuming that Taylor might be one topic of conversation on the show.
Absolutely.
Are you a Swiftie?
I am a Swiftie in the sense of I super stan her business acumen.
Ah.
Do you know what
okay,
I mean?
Yes.
Her
Maybe
music
not the
is
music,
great.
but
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not gonna like stand in line and pay $1,000 for a ticket.
but the genius behind it.
Is she not a genius? I really respect her, and I know it's partially her team that's behind her and everything.
Yeah, right.
But I really respect her. I like Taylor.
But like
Swift
even
a lot.
like dropping it at 12/12 today because it's the 12th album, like there's all these little nuances that are incredible.
It's a smart woman. I respect her.
Okay, what's on Live the D?
Guess what?
Do you have sandwiches?
We don't.
We just did.
I heard some sandwich conversation, so I love that for you. I hear there's something waiting at your desk for you, so enjoy that. But Kimmy is checking in with us today.
We get to see the baby?
Yes.
Forget Kimmy, I want to see the baby.
I know, right? No, we love Kimmy and we love baby Brooklyn, so we can't wait to have them on. We're going to check in with her.
Okay.
I really want to know how it's gone, how it's been going from a family of 3 to a family of 4, because that's a big transition.
Yeah, one little one to focus on versus 2.
No, I want to know how Blake is doing as a big brother, so we're really looking forward to checking in
I want
with
to see how
him.
Chance the dog is going too. Is he getting jealous yet?
I think he's going to be protective,
I think so too.
right, of the little ones. So that's the biggest, most exciting thing that we're going to have on the show today.
That's a pretty big one.
It is a big one.
It's a good one.
It is a big one. She and I were texting. We're like, can you just come back with the baby? Maybe we can make this work.
A third co-host.
I can babysit while you go on lunch. We can make this work. We can make this work. So we're looking forward to that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Okay, thank you so much for stopping in.
Absolutely.
Live at the D, by the way, starts at 11 o'clock, so an hour and 3 minutes from now. Thank you for joining us for Local 4 Live here on Local 4 Plus and always on clickondetroit.com. You can always find the news live there 24/7. And today is Tuesday. Make it a great day, everybody.